So these people had a requirement where whenever the case is created in the Salesforce, the same case has to be created in the service now. They had a requirement when the case is created in the Salesforce, the same case has to be created in the service now. Then what happened? The service now is using client credentials. Now who is the service provider? Service now is the service provider. Salesforce is the service consumer. From the Salesforce, in the Salesforce, whenever the case is created, we want the case to be created in the service now. Now who is the service provider? Service now. Who is the client? Salesforce. Now where we are going to create a connected app? The service now connected app is created and they give username password. They give the username password. The service now username password was given. So look at the point. So the authentication is username password authentication. So take the username, whatever the username they have taken, colon password. Encrypt this. Encrypt this. Because we are directly passing the username password. So we are encrypting the username password and passing them as a authorization. This is how we are passing as a authorization. Then they give me some instance. This is the endpoint URL to which I am making a request. The type of request is post. The way in which I am sending the data is JSON. So what we are doing, whatever the case we want to create, write a SQL query in the Salesforce, get the case, put in the form of JSON, and whatever the JSON we created, keep it in the body and send as a request. This will be sending the request to this URL. This will be sending the request to this URL to create the case. So here the people are using password, username, password authentication. Useword, password authentication. Whatever the service now username they have given, service now password they have given, using these credentials. These are credentials of the user. So username, password they have given. They encrypted the username, password. Then I was making a request to that URL and sending the data. So this is a basic requirement. So when the username, password is given, now client credentials as per the mail you have sent me, you ask me client credential. Service now is not supporting implicit client credential request. So there are only two choices for you: either go with the username, password authentication, or go with the code format of authentication. I have gone through the service now documentation. As per the documentation, client credentials, as per the documentation or the mail what you send me. Okay, you have sent me the client ID, client secret you have sent me, but only with the client ID, client secret I will not be able to integrate, because inbound web services call using the client credentials is not accepted. Inbound integration call with the client credential is not supported in the service now. As per the documentation, it is not supporting. So there are only two possibilities that we have: either go with the username, password here, or else use the code format. So this is one of the example I found which is implemented using the username, password. So you can use this code and integrate. Simple HTTP request only. Nothing is changing. Only the point here is instead of OAuth, we are giving username, password authentication. Instead of OAuth, we are giving username, password authentication. Right? Right? Who is the other girl? Bharati. Bharati, are you there? Both are not there. Okay, chalo. Let us continue with our topics. First, we'll start with the Postman. How to test your application using a Postman. Okay. Now, go to the Postman, download the Postman, go to the Postman, download it, you'll be finding the file like this. It is a exe file. Just click on next. It will install. Click on next. It will install. So once it is installed, you get a Postman like this. It is a exe file. Just go to the get Postman. Just go to the get Postman. It is a okay. You will get a setup file. Just click on next. It will be installed. There's nothing. There's no settings required for that. Just like a data loader. Just give next. It will be installed. Once it's installed, you get the structure like this. You get the structure like this. So once you get the structure like this, look at the point. I want to test this service. So go to the Postman. What type of method is this? The type of request is get method because we are passing the parameters in the URL. So go to this, choose the type of method what we are using. Then what are the parameters you want to pass? Select the parameters. Access key. What are the parameters you want to pass? Pass them here. Access key. Like a workbench, we can use this for testing the services. Currencies. What are the parameters we have to give? Then we have source. Format. So look at this. We are making a request to this URL. By passing the following parameters. Send a request. Missing access key. Was that? You know to separate the API key. Check out here. Any spaces we got? No. Fine. Let me type here one more time. Let me type here. Okay. the service. By default, we got the same story. Send a request. Look at the format. We received the response here. So whatever the URL I am giving, get method I am giving here. Even if you give the parameters also, this will be appended here. When I give the parameters also, this will be appended here. So what we got here? If I take an endpoint URL, pass the required parameters, send it. This is a sample response what we are getting. This is a sample response what we are getting. So you want to check how the service is running, what parameters you have to pass, whether the service is working properly or not. Then we can do it in the Postman. In the Postman, you can give the URL, make a request, get the corresponding responses. Now let us see other example. What we have done. Postal code. Go to the Postman. Type of method is get. Send a request. This is how we are getting the sample response. So you want to test the services, we can use this. Now let us say I want to test the next one. The next one I want to test is authentication. How do you test authentication? What is the account through which we connected earlier? Do you remember what is the account we have connected earlier?
Yeah, the same account, 125.
No. We have created a connected app, no? We integrated with some other Salesforce account.
Maybe admin, something admin.
Okay. Now let me go and change my password then. Okay. So I want to test the authentication. So what we do, if you want to test the authentication, first go to create apps, go to apps. We're going to create a connected app here. Then enable the OAuth, callback URL you can give. Full access. Now, I want to make a request to this. Connected app and get the access token. So this is the endpoint URL. Okay. Now let us go to this. What type of request is this? It is a post request. What is the endpoint URL? This is the endpoint URL. We are making a request to this endpoint URL. Then what type of method is this? Post method. So in the body, I have to pass the data. Form data, key value. So what is the data they are expecting? Grant type. Grant type password. Client ID. Then we require a client ID. So in the connected app, what is the client ID we receive? Just testing our services are working properly or not. We need client secret. Right. So this is the endpoint URL. The method is post. In the body, we are passing the following data. Send. Client identifier. So let me cross check.
Satish, it's capital.
What was that?
In the client ID, it's the last week client ID. Just put the N in the end. Yeah, here. Capital N.
Send a request. Invalid. Let me cross check. This space we got here. Let me see bulk edit. Client ID, client secret, username, password. Integration with the data from 125.com, Salesforce 123. Then I need to check whether it's open API or not. Client ID, client secret. Let me cross check the client secret also. F11. Okay. 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 Client identifier, invalid client ID. Okay, let me do one thing. Once again, I'll log into my account and see whether my password is changed properly or not. Okay. Let me cross check whether my profile has OpenAPI. Otherwise, I have to give security token. It's not OpenAPI. I have to give security token. Let me cross check here again. It's OpenAPI only. So we had Salesforce 123 integration. Okay. Post that. Let me send again. Right. This is how we got it. So we received here access token. Then we use this access token, make the next request. We use this access token, make the next request. You want to test some other service? Then put a header or put authorization. Okay. Header, authorization. Put it, give the URL, send a request, we are going to get a response. So we are just checking out. We're just checking out whether our services are working properly or not. We can use the Postman to check out whether our services are working properly or not. That is the reason why we use Postman. We can do the same with the Workbench. And we can also use the Postman for doing it. Choose the type of method. Choose the endpoint URL. Now we will say in the get method, what are the parameters you are passing, you can give here. Authorization, we have what type of authorization you are using. Was 2.0, whatever the access token we got it, we can give it the access token here in case if it is available to you. Otherwise, you generate the access token, body, enter the required credentials, send a request. In the response, you get the access token. Again, make a request to the next URL, put header, and keep authorization, whatever the data you want to pass. So this is how we will be testing. Once you pass the required information, how we are getting the access, what type of response we are going to get it. This we can test it from Postman. Right, boss? This is someone has asked me in the class how to use the Postman. Is that was clear? Right, boss?
Yes, Satish.
Right. Now, come back to the next one. And somebody has asked me, someone else has asked me, what is the difference between OAuth 1.0 and OAuth 2.0? See, OAuth 1.0 basically designed for the web applications. Any data that you try to transfer, it'll apply a signature, encrypt it and send it. It'll apply a signature, encrypt and send it. Now, it will not be suitable for device-oriented applications. Where you want to have an access to the device, it will not be suitable. Only when server-to-server integration is happening, OAuth 1.0 will be suitable because they use a signature for encrypting the data, and the same key has to be available on the other side also to decrypt the signature. The data will be encrypted with the signature and will be sent to the third party. The third party system will use, they should have the same key, they should generate the same key to decrypt the value. So it's suitable for the web application, server to server implementation, web applications. Now, if you want to go with the device level authentication, then we go with OAuth 2.0. OAuth 2.0, where we don't use external signatures for encrypting. Now, we use the certificate itself, the HTTPS. When you say HTTPS, the certificate, the SSL certificate, TLS certificate, which is available here, itself is used for encrypting the data. We don't use any external signature for encrypting, right? So it will be short-lived. OAuth 1.0 is long-lived. The access token what we get in OAuth 1.0, it is a long-lived. It is a long-lived. It is safe for more time. But the access token what we generate through 2.0 is short-lived. It will be the life of that access token is very short, and it only uses the SSL or TLS configuration what you set for sending and encrypting the data. Whereas in the OAuth 1.0, the external tokens are generated for signatures. Right? So today, the entire market is using the OAuth 2.0 because we need device-oriented authentication, it has to support web application, web to server application, server to server application, and web to device, server to device. Any type of authentication we require, it has to support. That is the reason we are having OAuth 2.0. The basic core point is they require signatures for encrypting the data 2.0 doesn't require any signatures for encrypting the data. Whatever the SSL or TLS that we have in the protocol itself will be used for encrypting the data. There is a major difference. And today, as per our application, we only 2.0 will be suitable to us. Coming down to the security wise, 1.0 is more secure compared to the 2.0 because we are using external signatures to encrypt the data. But coming down to the 2.0, it is easy for the usage. For using, it will be very easy for the usage, and basic level of authentication is already provided. Right? You got the point, someone who has asked me 1.0 and 2.0. Is that was clear? 1.0 uses signatures for encrypting. 2.0 uses the protocol TLS and SSL. The TLS and SSL certificate what we have that will be used for encrypting and providing the security. It will not take any external parameters for security purpose. For encrypting your data, the SSL, whatever the SSL or TLS certificate we have, it is used for encrypting. Right. Then coming down to the 1.0, it is used for web applications, web authentications. Whereas when you go for 2.0, it's a web authentication, device authentication, server to server authentications also. Then 1.0 is more secure, 2.0 is secure but easy to access. Is that point was clear? The guy who has asked me the basic differences between 1.0 and 2.0. Is that was clear, boss?
Yes, Satish.
Then coming down to the next one. Yeah. Let me go with the streaming API. What is that streaming API? First, let me demonstrate the example, then I'll go with the theoretical information. First, let me demonstrate the example for your understanding. First, let us see the example. Now, this is one browser. This is one browser. This is the data which is getting displayed here. This is another browser. This is another browser. I opened account. I'm making some change on that account. There are two different people who are logged in. They have modified account. When you modified account, go to account and see. What are you getting here? You're getting some data here. Now, is that page I have modified manually or is auto refreshed? This is auto refreshed. I have not refreshed the page. I have not refreshed the page. When I made a change here, this data this page is auto refreshed. This page is auto refreshed. When I made any changes on this data, this page is auto refreshed. This page is auto refreshed. This is the basic concept of the streaming API. Let me explain the theory now. Let me explain the theory, what it is, how it is going to work. Now, let us look at this example. It's a web service from the JavaScript action. I have a table here. Now, they're writing a query and giving you. Similarly, someone else also have the right. Somebody wrote the query. Now there are two different people who have used two different pages here. Three people have used. Three different people have used. They are displaying the data. They have different pages. They are using different programs, which is displaying the data. Now, this is the data. Now, all the three pages are referring to the same. Three different users are logged into the application. They are opening different pages where they're displaying the list of data. Now, in the back end, already they opened the pages. They are seeing the data. They opened the pages. They are seeing the data. In the back end, somebody deleted this table, this record. Now, will it be reflected on these pages or not? At the back end, if somebody deleted the record, will it be reflected in the page? Will it be reflected in the page? It will not be reflected on the page unless we refresh it. Let me put it in this way. This is the data. This is the data what we get. This is the data what we are finding it. Okay. Now what I've done in the back end, I'm deleting some data. Satish testing. Now the page is displaying list of accounts. In the back end, I'm deleting some records here. In the back end, when I deleted some records, okay, go to the page and see. Still the data in the page is not refreshed. So what happened? When the page is open, the page fetched the data, displaying the data. In the back end, some changes happen on the data. The page will not refresh. The data in the page will not refresh. I have to manually refresh the page to see the changes. Whatever the changes happen in the database, if I have to see those changes, I have to manually refresh the data. But I don't want this to be happening manually. I want this to happen automatically. Now, tell me one use case of this. Why you want the manual refresh? Why you want auto refresh? Now we have a Crick Info website. Some ESPN Sport or some, okay. Some website. Now what happened? Number of people have opened the website and seeing the scores. Some live match is going on. Number of people have opened the website and seeing it. Number of people have opened the website and they are seeing the scores in the website. Now, what happened here? These people, they don't want to refresh every time. They don't want to refresh every time to see. Now these people don't want to refresh every time to see the latest score. So what happened? Whenever the score is modified in the backend, now this is the point. So here in the table, whenever I make a changes, any change I make here, it has to auto refresh all these pages. Whoever is using my data, all those pages should be auto refreshed. Users should not refresh. Whenever the change happens at the back end, the pages has to auto refresh. When you are seeing a Crick Info, when some batsman score changes at the back end, you will not refresh the page to see the modified score. Every time you don't click on refresh. When batsman score changes, automatically the change will be reflected on your page. This concept is what? Streaming API. This concept is called streaming API. Now you have got, you got a mobile, WhatsApp. Now, when you get a new message, you should not refresh the application. You should not close the WhatsApp and open the WhatsApp to see the message. Automatically, when you receive the message, it should be popped up. The page has to refresh and show you that we received one new message. So, all the people who are using my data, if any changes happen on my data, that should be auto refreshed. All those pages, all the pages which are using my data, which are open, if any change happens on my data, automatically any changes happen on my data, automatically the pages has to refresh. Okay, to use this, we are going for a streaming API. Streaming API is not only Salesforce concept; it's open to all the technologies. It's an open API. Streaming API is not specific to Salesforce. It's an open API. It's an open API by using push and comment. Internally, they are using push and subscribe concept. Internally, they are using push and subscribe. This is not only Salesforce concept, it's open for everyone. Now, how this is implemented? We practically don't use it as a part of the syllabus. I'm covering it. Now, when you go to this push and subscribe, when you say push and subscribe, first create a topic. Push the topic. Now we are supposed to create a push topic. So look at this. You can give push topic, P equal to new push topic. You can give any name of your choice, topic name. Then I told any change happens on my data, the page has to refresh. The change happens on which data? Now you need to tell the scope of the data. On this data, any change occurs, I will refresh. Which data? So write a query and get the data on which you want the changes to be tracked. Write a query and fetch the data on which you want to track the changes. Then version of API that says when I want to track. Now on this data, what type of operation happening? You are given a data. What type of notification? Notify me on this data. Notify me when any type of operation occurs. What is that? Okay. On any type of operation. What is that? Insert or update or okay. Insert or update or create or when should you notify me? Now you are creating this very good. But when should I notify you? When should I notify you? That's first question. Second one, on which fields the change occurs? On this data, on any one of these fields, any change occurs, I want to get it. So I'm giving you what? All fields are reference fields. Reference means the fields which I use in the SQL query. When I say all fields, any data from this object, I'll notify. Reference field means whichever the fields I am using in the SQL query, on these fields, any change occurs, notify me. When should I notify? Notify when operation called create occurs, then give true. If you give true, whenever a new record is inserted into the data and the data in the SQL query is changing. When you wrote the SQL query, whatever the data we are getting, after the create operation, whatever the data we are getting, if both are not same, notify me. Notify me for operation update. When I wrote a SQL query, whatever the data I got, on the data, if any update occurs, notify me. Notify me for undelete. Notify me for delete. So we need to say, create a push topic, name of the topic, what is the query we are trying to fetch, on which data the change has to occur. Then when should I notify? Notify for field value. All are referenced, or I can give notify for which operation. Well, okay, on which operation I have to notify. This you have to mention it. Once you create this push topic, we need to go for subscription. Go for a push topic, then we have to go for subscription. So let me show you this. This is what, before showing the example, this is what I created. Push topic, live account topic 9, query, I wrote select ID comma name from account, version, I use 37.0, notify for the operation called create, notify for operation called update, and delete. Notify for fields, which fields referenced in the SQL query. Notify for the fields which are referenced in the SQL query. So this is the push topic what I created. Now, whichever the page is going to subscribe this topic, their pages are auto refreshed. Now this is the topic what I created. Whichever the pages are going to subscribe this topic, their data will be auto refreshed. Whichever the pages are going to subscribe this topic, their pages are going to be auto refreshed. Then how do you subscribe the topic? If you want to subscribe the topic, we need to first download Comet D. If you want to subscribe the topic, what should I do? First I was supposed to download Comet D. Not there? Okay, let me download. Or else let me open from my document. Straight away I'll go with the URL. So searching, I'll take the URL data straight away. So just type the URL, you are going to get the corresponding file. Let the file be downloaded. Okay. Once the file is downloaded, unzip it. Once you unzip it, you're going to have a lot of files here. Now, we need to understand a quick concept here. We should create a static resources. Once you download the file, you're going to have the following. Once you extract it, we require comment.js, jQuery 1.51.js, JSN. Right. Upload these files as a static resource What I was supposed to do, once the comment is downloaded, extract it and upload these files as a static resource. We can put them in a folder and upload like a single file, or you can upload them as a separate file. In my context, I uploaded them as a separate file here. So how do you upload a static resource? Setup, build, develop, lightning component, static resources. Setup, build, develop, lightning components, static resources. Here we can upload. I have my own, I upload like a file in this example, application zip. Right. Upload is a single file here, application zip. So here in this example, what I give in the documentation, I upload like a single topic. Once you upload them like a single topic, what we will do? Include them in the VF page. How do you include the static resource in the VF page? Include script value equal to comment D. Value equal to $resource.comment D. You know how to include the static resource, right? So if it is a single file, $resource. If you uploaded a zip file, you kept all the files in the zip. Then we need to give URL for $source. By now, you might have done this. You also seen this example while using the jQuery. If it is zip file which you have created as a static resource, you can use this. If it is individual files, we are supposed to use in this way. So this example, here I use it as individual files, so we are uploading here. So, but whereas the example what I have shown here I upload like a zip file. So I am giving here URL for resource name, js.comment, js.jQuery 1.5.1 JS. So this is a zip file what I uploaded. From zip I am taking the resource and including to the VF page. So whatever it may be, a single file or you may be uploading a zip file, the resource should be included in the VF page. Once the resource is included in the VF page, then we need to go for the concept here. Now, before I get into the context, first let us understand. How do you define a jQuery statement? How can you define J $document dot ready? Am I right? How do you write the jQuery statement? J $document dot ready function. Right? Here also we have to use the same. So comment D if you want to include, we have to write like a jQuery. $document dot ready function. $document dot ready function. So first point, as you are making a call from the JavaScript, any request that you make from the JavaScript is a asynchronous call. So I have to I have to authorize myself to access the data. So if you want to authorize yourself, then there are two functions here. First function is $comment D initialization. In the initialization I have to give URL not add. So generally, how you define dollar, comma D. Right. This is URL like that. But because this example people are going to access from different location, students are from different location, there is a reason I'm not sure whether you are going to use AP8 or not. That's why what I've done, I made as a generic. How did I make a generic? Format D dot init. I told URL is window. URL is window dot location. Protocol. So this will give you message like URL. Then I used then I told what is the server instance. My server will be AP8, your server may be different. So I told window dot location dot host name. So if it is NA dot Salesforce dot. Whichever the instance, mine is ap8.salesforce.com, so I am getting this. Followed by, I would give slash. So to make it dynamic, I have taken this. Otherwise, straight away we can give URL equal to your server. Mine is ap8, so I give ap8.salesforce.com. If you have NA, you can give NA4 or NA5.salesforce.com. Then request header. In the request header, I was supposed to give authorization. Authorization, auth, whatever the session ID. Whatever the session ID. So I can use get session ID, or I can use $API dot. It's a global data. Either I can use get session ID or I can use. So finally, I'm saying connect to this organization with this ID. Make a request to this URL with this ID. Make a request to this URL with this ID. If you remember our S controller Ajax programming, we have done the same. Force dot connection dot session ID. The same story I'm doing here in the form of request address. Session ID. This is to initialize. This is to tell to which system you are connecting. This is to tell to which organization you are connecting, with which API, with which access token you are connecting. Right. This is for initialization. Once you are initialized, then I was supposed to subscribe. Comment D. Subscribe. Already we give a topic, right? Push topic. So we need to give topic slash topic name. Topic name. Then after subscribing, what is the message you want to give? Right. Subscribe this topic. When any change happens on this topic, the change will be coming to you as a message. Then you do whatever you want with that message. You want to add this message to a particular div. You want to add this message to a particular HTML element. You want to add this message to particular Visual Force element. It's up to your choice. So there are two things which you need to understand here. One is initialization. Other one is subscription. So $A dot init. Then we had The other one. Now, generally, how do you append the value from the jQuery? How do you add it? If you have div. Yes, yeah. What are the message you got? Suppose if it is HTML element, this one. You subscribe the topic, whatever the topic you are subscribing. When the change occurs on the topic, notification will come to this, and the corresponding message we can append to the wherever you want. So initialize it. This is to authenticate yourself. This is to subscribe. When the notification occurs, what is the message you want to print? But this is how we are going to use streaming API. I'll give the documentation, just go through it. Right. Just have a theoretical information. Practically, we don't use it generally. Right. This is a functionality boss. I hope these two functions are clear for everyone. So what was this topic basically? Push and subscribe. We have to push the topic first. You have to push the topic first and tell, okay, on which data changes occurs, when should I be notified? When the notification will be coming to you? When what type of changes occurs, and on which data change occurs, notification has to come to you. That is defined with push topic. Push topic will tell you which data, what type of changes occur, when it will be notified. Then whoever is subscribing, whichever the page is subscribing, they get the corresponding notification. Right. Fine, boss. Then anything else you require from my end?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Last week of classes have not uploaded into that site.
From my
Yesterday
end,
we went to the admin room and asked.
From my end,
Yesterday I went to the office room. Okay. Sir told that not received from you.
See, you need to check on the site. If it is there on the site, it's done from my end. So your integration class. Test classes, right? Test classes.
Yes.
I give the same numbering as again, but it's already done. Test class. Last class was the test classes. 14, 2 test classes. Right. It's already there on the site, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Any other queries? Now, interview questions I will